It is time to race once again. The wildcard heat of unlimited boat racing for the Albert Lee Appliance Cup. Here are the boats in the wildcard heat. It is the Fox Plumbing and Heating presents Miss Red Dot, the Fedco boat, Albert Lee Appliance, and Peters and May, and now DiGiulio as well. They are on the list. Those are the boats for the wildcard heat for the Albert Lee Appliance Cup.
Wildcard heat of the Albert Lee Appliance Cup is brought to you by Thermador. Thermador offers the perfect combination of style and substance, not sacrificing one for the other, but rather bringing the two together for the ultimate cooking experience.
As we take a look at beautiful Lake Washington, I can almost hear Pat O'Day saying once the boats get fired up and out on the water, as the beautiful sockeye under the surface of Lake Washington look up and say, what the heck are you guys doing up there? Partying and making all that noise. And there is part of the party out on the log boom. And men, we are in the wrong place.
Yeah, what are we doing here?
All right, the starting clock, there it is brought to you by J.P. Morgan Chase, a proud sponsor of Seafair. Chase, making it easy for your personal and business banking needs to start and run strong. Boy, I tell you, it just doesn't get much better out here on the lake. There's almost no breeze to speak of. The boats are starting to pull away from the finger piers here at Stan Sayers Pits. Temperature is climbing ever so slowly up to 77 degrees. Folks are now finding their way out into the water, at least a little bit, to cool off. Those waters are calm for the drivers that are now behind the wheel at the controls of these boats that will approach and go over. In fact, 200 miles an hour down the straightaways. Here are those drivers. John Zimmerman in the Fox Plumbing. Mark Evans, again a winner here at Seafair a few years ago in the Fedco boat. Peters and May has Tommy Thompson at the controls, and Lee Stoll is in the Peters and May pits.
Yeah, they actually just took off. A little disappointed with how the penalties have played out so far. The officials forgave one of the penalties against Beacon. That put them in the final, and that put John Zimmerman into the provisional. And the team here says that they would have rather taken on John Michael Kelly, but they actually put in a new gearbox in the last heat that seemed to work for them. So at least they're putting their best equipment on the water right now.
And one final driver here, that would be Brian Perkins in the Albert Lee Appliance boat. He is looking to get into the final as well. All these drivers are. Those the drivers in the wildcard heat for the Albert Lee Appliance Cup. And so as we are now approaching the 3-minute mark, just 4 boats racing here. Tell us what we're going to see, Chip. What is the point of this race, in point of fact?
Well, this is the last chance to get into the final. This is called the provisional. Now, if you win this, the good news is you're in the final. The bad news is, Mike, you're not starting on the front line, but you're starting a few seconds back. That's right. Not much fun, is it?
No, as a matter of fact, it's hard, if not impossible, to win back there, but that actually is not impossible. Mike Hansen did it in the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes in 1993 down in San Diego, where he was the 7th boat in that particular fleet and managed to work his way through traffic and penalties and a little attrition and did win. But it's a tough order, no doubt about it.
But what I like about this heat, Mike, is, yeah, there's no real dominant boats here, but it should be very competitive.
Yeah, this is a hang it all out because this is a win at all cost type of deal for everybody. And under those circumstances, I like everybody's chances in this one. By the way, the Peters and May is also wearing the DiGiulio sponsorship for this heat. And of course, the DiGiulio folks had some damage to the hull that put them out of the Albert Lee Cup altogether in a test run yesterday. And unfortunately, we're not able to race. And so we didn't see Greg Hopp out here, who's always a strong competitor. So DiGiulio is also painted on the Peters and May boat.
One thing to think about as well, this puts extra stress on these boats. They got to run one extra race to try to get into the final, and usually these are the teams with the fewest number of parts and all those things.
And very little time. So let's say everything goes your way, you win this heat, you get back to the dock. The other guys that are already in the final, they're prepping their boat, but you have very little time.
Yeah, you got a little under an hour to get it done in order to get back out here again.
On KairoTV.com, we are around the world. Here again, the voice of Unlimited Hydroplane Racing, Mike Fitzsimmons.
Nobody's decided to really go down on power and just coast through the corner. Everybody's under speed at the moment, at least on plane, which is the way we used to see them go around the corners. They're going to all just go for it here, and they want to be careful not to get past that yellow buoy before the clock ticks down the last 7 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. There's the buoy. 1, 0. Looks like we're okay. All right, and outside, you have Mark Evans, who has been driving really well today. I like the way he's been driving, and he's come up on the outside here to move up, and he may have enough boat lengths. Well, he's going to slow down. It doesn't look like he's going to try to come across, but he might have been able to do that at that point, although he'd be a little bit earlier to the other buoy, and he wants to be sure that he comes down a little bit on speed so he can make it down to the start-finish line without jumping. So everybody's moving along up that back chute, and pretty much the rule about the lower corner and the 1 minute buoy after everyone cleared it really didn't play into this one at all. As they come through the corner, it looks like the inside lane is going to be Mr. Evans.
And Mike, did you catch Peters and May, Fedco, both penalized?
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Both.
No, so they went past it too quickly.
Exactly.
Okay, well then it doesn't really matter. This is going to be between it's going to be between the Albert Lee now and the Fox Plumbing as far as who is going to wind up not having to go the extra distance to win. And the Fox Plumbing's in a perfect position as the boats zip underneath that helicopter there at the lower corner, and around the corner they go. Mark Evans is leading them through. But Mark Evans already has incurred the wrath of the officials, so it really is a situation where John Zimmerman has the freedom to operate on front water and stay out of trouble at this point, Chip, because he's not really going to be challenged, it looks like.
No, and he's got plenty of boat. The only thing I feel bad about is that Fox Plumbing boat is not going to be on the front line. He finished second in the Gold Cup. It's a very competitive boat. He's a really smart driver, but starting from the provisional spot back there, it's pretty tough.
You're not any happier than Steve David is about that, because that would be one more piece of trouble he doesn't need in the final heat. And so right now, as they come down in lap number 1, Mr. Evans is putting up the fight a little bit, but unfortunately he isn't going to be able to take care of that in any event, because he's virtually a lap down at this point as they go through that lower corner. And this is an opportunity, of course, for the race package, final race package in the Fox Plumbing Red Dot Les Schwab boat to be tested out, because this is their best stuff in there right now.
It is, and they're not going to have time to really do much to the boat when they get it back. I think the jumping the gun on the exit buoy here, it's not too big a deal, because hey, it's so much at stake here. You've got to push it. He missed it by a little bit, so that doesn't bother me too much, because there was so much at stake.
And as you say, this is everybody's final heat unless they can win it, in which case they can advance one last time. So under those circumstances, you understand. Well, it isn't going to be much of a contest, obviously, with the second lap over with. The Fox Plumbing Red Dot Les Schwab boat is in the lead now by a half a rooster tail. Mark Evans giving chase, but he is not a legal starter, unfortunately, nor is the boat behind him, the Peterson May, which is running in 4th position. But the Albert Lee is with Brian Perkins, and he is officially in 2nd position, although he occupies the 3rd physical position on the race course at the present time. And so he is the only other legal starter of the 4.
We can see it in the red boat there. That's Mark Evans. He's been around forever. We keep talking about how long is Steve David going to drive. How long is Mark Evans going to drive? Yeah. I don't think it's going to be much longer, especially after what I saw yesterday when they put Jesse Roberts in the boat and got him qualified. So this might be the last year we see Mark Evans at Seafair.
Ticket to the final heat now for the U9 boat, the Fox Plumbing Red Dot Les Schwab hydroplane. Michael Laurie Jones's boat gets into the action. White flag goes up for Mark Evans. Sorry, Mark, one more time around. Same for the Albert Lee gets scored, and the white flag will go up for the Peters and May and the DiGiulio boat. It's the combination sponsor now. They'll have to go around one more time. Right now they're way down on power. I think that they may have a tough time just finishing the extra penalty lap in this case. They did not get a checker. They got a white, but it looks like he's headed back to the pits, but it doesn't really matter anyway, because it's his last run for the day as it is. Under the circumstances. So Mark is going to get scored in any event, points of points, and he's going to garner every one he can. So he's going around the corner on the upper side now one last time as a cool-off lap is being undertaken by this boat, the Fox Plumbing Red Dot Les Schwab boat. And here comes Mark Evans down to the start-finish line, and he will be scored in the red 57 Fedco, and gets a chance for a few extra points, but unfortunately that's the end of his day as well.
Of course, the sponsor of Fox Plumbing isn't here to see his boat make it into the final. He's in the hospital. He's had a really rough few days, but hopefully seeing his boat in the final will make him feel a little bit better this evening.
And, you know, there's an outside chance always, but it's not a real good one.
I've seen heats, Mike, and I know you have too, where everybody jumps the gun but one guy and wins a race. So it's not over till somebody sings. I can't remember who that is. It's supposed to sing, but somebody sings.
As long as it's not one of us.
Yeah.
But we had a final heat in Miami one year in the late 70s when Bill Muncie was the only guy who could start. He went around one lap, got the checkered flag, and that was it. Everybody else was sitting at the dockside, unable to start in a final heat, for crying out loud, but that happened.
So we have a lot of boat racing coming up. We've got the final for the Formula One boats. We have the final for the Unlimiteds. Lots to go here.
You know, we've talked about the tradition of boat racing. I think it's interesting. John Zimmerman, he grew up as a kid racing those 1/10 scale models, electric hydroplanes, you know, and he was just in love with them like both of you guys were, really, coming down over the hilltop and watching from your perch here along Lake Washington. There's great tradition, as we keep talking about, and this guy, while we don't know his name like some of the great drivers, he's been in this sport for a little while, likes it.
You know, I have to say, some of the great drivers, the names we do recognize, we're very lucky to get into good equipment. There's been a lot of great drivers, Mike, that never got the chances that I did.
Lee Stoll standing by in the pits now for us as the wild card is in the books. Lee?
And I'm with Tom from Peters and May. The penalties really just killing everybody today. What happened?
It is. This is a last chance heat to get in the final. We had some issues earlier in this weekend, so we thought we'd go for it. I was going to try to pull a leapfrog move, was a little bit early. I got past the 1 minute pin, and that pretty much took us out of it from there.
Yeah. So then was there anything else that you could have done in that position, or was it just pushing too hard?
No, just trying to make the final, and that's the last chance you got. And we hadn't done that all weekend. I really wasn't set up to do it, but I wanted to try it anyway because, you know, it's a winner take all. Even though it's a consolation heat, you either get in or you don't.
Yeah, you got to leave it all out there.
That's
all right,
for sure.
Tom, thanks.
Thank you.
Tom Thompson from Cambridge, Maryland. Hope he's enjoyed his stay here in the Pacific Northwest. He drove as best he could there in the Peters and May, and we await the pilot to climb out of the Fox Plumbing and Heating boat. That'd be John Zimmerman. Our Chris Francis is standing by in the pits, and he's there now. Chris.
They call him the Rocket Man. John Zimmerman's the Rocket Man because he won a couple of heats in Doha, and they nicknamed him the Rocket Man because of the way he came up the straightaways, and he just got out of that boat pretty quickly. And hey, I know you had a good run, John, in the final. That's what you wanted, really.
Yeah, we want to get in there. We're going to be in the trailer. We're going to have to fight our way up through some rough stuff, but it'll be a good time.
Yeah, and the other two guys here just didn't hit the buoy right, and you were right there to jump on it.
Yeah, we actually got up there a touch early, but it worked out for us. We had some room inside there to run, and Evans, he was screaming on the inside there. He was doing a great job.
Good stuff, guys. We'll see you in the final.
All right, I'd like to say thank you to Fox Plumbing and Heating,
All those
sponsors, Red Dot, Les Schwab Tires, Bard, all those guys.
Thanks, John. Good luck.
All right.
Yep.
All right, we can read the boat for ourselves. Thank you very much. Chris, thanks as well to John Zimmerman. So, here are the results of your wild card heat. You want to read? Read this. Fox Plumbing, followed by Albert Lee Appliance. The penalties for Fedco and Peters and May. The results of your wild card heat brought to you by Jack in the Box.
The Wild Card Heat of the Albert Lee Appliance Cup is brought to you by Thermador. Thermador offers the perfect combination of style and substance, not sacrificing one for the other, but rather bringing the two together for the ultimate cooking experience.
With me, John Zimmerman, driver of the 9. Fox Plumbing presents Team Red Dot, powered by Les Schwab. John, you have won a trophy, a spot in the provisional, and I'm going to hand the appliance certificate to Joanne over here. And we are accompanied by Lori Jones. Congratulations. You get to be behind the field by 5 seconds. Some tell me it's a little rough back there.
It's an ocean back there, but we're going to do the best we can, maybe pick off a couple boats, and who knows, you might win it from back there. People have done it before.
Congratulations on a great drive in the provisional. You have one more race today.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank Albert Lee and Bosch for this check also. And thank you for all your support for Seafair.
Back to you, Steve. We have one race ready left to run in the Unlimiteds.